All right, welcome everyone. Great to see you. Great to see you. Great to see you. The timeline, mom's timeline, not working. It's just not working. No. It is not working at all. At all. There's no way around it right at this point. And it's just one simple statement she made to investigators. The one simple statement. Where is it? I've got them all here. I've got to find it. Well, MaddieS0t0 provided a sworn written statement to Orange County deputies summarized as follows on 2/26/24. At approximately 0800 hours, Jen saw Madeline getting ready for school. How does that work? How does that work? It doesn't. It does not work. No. It does not work for many reasons. Let's start here. Oh, by the way, thank you for joining us. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're subscribing. All right. It always comes back to the timeline for me. Always does. Always try to figure out every story I'm covering, every case I'm covering. Show me the timeline. What is the timeline? Let's figure it out. And I do that, with all the great producers I have at Court TV. We figure it out. And in this one, there's a bunch of things you can look at, but it starts with this 8 a.m., seeing her getting ready for school. How does that work with what we know? Well, it doesn't work with what we know if investigators are telling us the truth. Okay. If investigators, and there's no reason to think they're not telling us the truth, because when this investigation began, let's not forget what the investigation was. It was the search for this angel. It was the search for Madeline. That's how it all started. It didn't start as, trying to get the evidence against this guy. No, it started as a search for a missing child, a missing 13-year-old. Okay. And what sort of information did they gather? Well, they started with these statements, right? And this first statement is, that mom, what do you know? What do you know? When did you last see her? It's so important. Please tell us. I saw her getting ready for school at 8 a.m. Okay. Well, what do investigators have? What information do they have? 7:35. 7:35 at the Venetian Bay Villages that you're looking at right there. Not at the front entrance, but I'm going to tell you what's happening at 7:35. I think we've got some pictures of it coming up here. Let me see where it is. Close to the back entrance. We've got, okay. Oh, I got to go back. Let me go back. Right here. Oh, I missed it again. That's not it. Well, that's sort of it, but not. Yeah, that's kind of it. Okay, so if you look at this photo at 7:35, red dot top left corner, right there, right there. How do I get to it? I can't get on top of it, but there we go, right there. That's their home. Okay, now if you look towards the bottom right, that is the blue is the back exit. Okay. So on the way to the back exit, if you look where those green dots are, you see the green dots, and then there's um, there's the two green dots. And as you look at the two green dots, you see like a building and then something right next to it. That is where the dumpster is. So 7:35, he is there at the dumpster. Okay, which is on the way out to the back exit. And they haven't said so, but from what my sources are telling me, she's in the car at 7:35. MaddieS0t0, 7:35 in the car as Stearns is at the dumpster throwing out the backpack, throwing out the laptop. 8 a.m., getting ready for school, not happening, not working. No, that's not what happened. That timeline, from my perspective, is perhaps the biggest lie that's been told. Here you get a closer shot. You can see the dumpster. You see the tennis courts just below the tennis courts. So that's the dumpster. And I've got another image. I think I have the image on here. I have to check. I may not on this one. There's an actual, yeah, I don't think I have it on this one. Sorry. I might. There's a video camera near the dumpster. So I'm just trying to find that. I may or may not have it on here. I'm just going to let it play. I don't think I have it on this one. But anyhow, so there's a video camera there at the dumpster. So he is caught 7:35 on camera, dumping the backpack, dumping the laptop. That's 25 minutes before 8 a.m. And sources, no one's on the record with this, sources saying it's clear that she's in the car at 7:35, which completely changes everything in the timeline. Now, they haven't said that in court yet. They don't have a document that says that yet, but that's coming from sources down in Orlando. Okay. So if that is true, her timeline, not even close. But even if you can't see her in the car on the video at the dumpster, at 8:10, 10 minutes after 8, Stern's car is near the school. This is near the school, driving away from the school. Driving away from the school at 8:10. License plate tag picks him up. So what does that mean? Well, he's at this point 9 minutes away from home. How do I know that? Because at 8:19, he's seen on video returning through the front gate. And that's where they see Madeline slumped in the car at 8:19. Now, in these reports, there's also an indication, and I don't know, sometimes there's mistakes in the reports. You have to remember that. Sometimes street names are wrong, people's names are wrong, times are transposed. So there could be problems in this report, because there's another line in the reports that were released by Kissimmee that there's video of him exiting with her with the green shirt slumped over to the left. They could be mixing it up with him returning. But the Orange County sheriff was very clear that at 8:19, video of him returning. So if 8:10, he's near the school, he's 9 minutes away. He's 9 minutes away, because at 8:19, he shows up at the front gate. So back that up a little bit. Back that up just a little bit. Just based on those times, he's at least 9 minutes away, and he's in the direction coming here, so he would have had to turn around. So at a minimum, the latest he could have left is at like 8 o'clock. But it's obviously much earlier than that. Because if he's in the car at 7:35 and she's getting ready to 8, what does he throw the stuff out, then drive back, pick her up, and then start driving to the school? Is that what he did? That wouldn't make sense because it doesn't take 25 minutes to go from the dumpster back to the house. She's not getting dressed at 8 o'clock, period. It's just not happening. And my belief is she's in the car with him at the dumpster at that time. And my theory on all this, based upon the evidence that I've seen, so this is my analysis based on the evidence that's been made public. There's more evidence could change my mind, obviously. But this is all a ruse, an absolute ruse to make it look like he's dropping her off at school. So he's going through the motions. So his car is picked up on video, that you do see him at the gate. So that, license plate readers do pick him up. Traffic cams pick him up. Oh yeah, he drove to school, had the story, dropped her off, make sure maybe his car is seen at the church parking lot. I don't know, whatever he's doing. He's just driving there and driving back as if he's dropping her off. But he's not, because he didn't, because she didn't go to school, because she wasn't getting ready at 8 o'clock, because at 7:35, her stuff's already being thrown out. That means she's gone already. She's gone, unfortunately. But these are just the facts. 7:35, she's gone. All right. Active chat today. But you don't have to go far into the timeline for it to make no sense. So it's like impossible for this to have happened. So the other statements, like he dropped her off at school, that's what he's telling her. But this is the one coming straight from her mouth. And straight from her mouth is, I saw her. Well, the truth is you didn't. That is not true. Either it's an extreme mismemory, which would you have that? Is that the time to start misremembering things when your child is missing, and then you're going to mix up times and days? Or are you going to try to be very focused on, okay, last time I saw her, where was she? What time was it? What was I doing? Peter Buston. Thank you, Vinny, from the UK. Indeed. Thank you, Peter. Thanks for watching on the other side of the pond. Flora Marie, thank you for never giving up on Maddie. No. This is a case where justice needs to be served. Extreme justice, if you know what I mean. Certain laws are on the books for certain situations. This is one of those situations, why that law is on the books, that I know not everyone agrees with. That should be considered an option for a punishment. But these are the cases that it's reserved for. A young girl who is tortured for years. And now she's getting old enough to stand on her own 2 feet, to stand up for herself, to perhaps fight back. This is the moment that she has taken. Turtle Gang, thank you for all you do. Thank you, Turtle Gang. Good to have you aboard here. We've got Michelle L. Is there a TOD, time of death, cause of death? At what point did she know? What did she witness regarding the actual? She's weirdly sympathetic to SS. Yeah, there is a level of sympathy and denial. Don't forget, when she's confronted with the photographic evidence of what the monster was doing to Madeline, she's like, oh, I don't recognize any of this. I don't recognize this. Instead of, oh my goodness, this monster, what can I do to help you prosecute him? Yeah, there's shock, but following the shock, there needs to be something else. When you are presented with irrefutable evidence, photograph of what was going on. We don't know time of death. We don't know cause. We just don't know it because those reports have not been made public. There's a law in Florida. If the victim is underage and the victim of DV, then the parent has the right to keep it from being made public. Now, the information will have to be made public at some point in some courtroom somewhere, unless he just pleads guilty. If he just pleads guilty, then we won't know. But he'd have to plead guilty and accept the ultimate punishment, because I don't think there's going to be any deal given to this man. So we don't have that information. I suspect we'll get it through a court hearing or some filing referencing all of those issues. But the actual report will be withheld because there's a special law to protect minors. It all goes back to a case involving some children who were the victims of their father, and the mother was upset when all the details came out publicly. So the legislature in Florida changed those rules. Dolly Vision with us. This lady needs to be in jail. Thank you, Dolly Vision. Folks, make sure you're subscribing to Dolly Vision. Who's with us here? Kelly Mack. Kelly Mack. Was any explanation given by Jen as to why she didn't identify her clothes last seen in accurately? No, we don't have what was released. So she was interviewed by Orange County. The reports that were released were from Kissimmee PD. So Kissimmee is summarizing some of the information from Orange County. We're waiting for the Orange County records to be, I guess, redacted and made public. So that should be happening, I would think, sometime in the near future. You're going to get different pieces of information. But this is the first stuff from that big 1,000-page discovery that was given to the defense that's been released to the public so far. So I don't know if they questioned her on that or not, or they were just getting information. But it seemed from the way it was described by Kissimmee PD that at the point that she's confronted with the picture, everything changes. The interview fizzles a little bit. She's emotionally reacting to the whole thing, but not in a way to say, how can I help you? So we don't know from that point forward, when she's shown the picture, what exactly her reaction has been. Is it as a cooperator? Is she still concerned about potential liability? Does she have a lawyer? If she has a lawyer, she's not going to say anything. Not after. She won't say anything unless she gets some deal locked down. Because she's already, seemingly made an incorrect statement of fact to investigators, which could be interpreted as a lie, which is a problem. Oh, our RN is here. Ooh, Marie, our RN, Marie G. I just read SS is implicating Gen S now. Right? Like we were talking about this. I talked about this Sunday night. What cards does he have to play? But is that a card that the prosecution wants? Like, are you going to give him something for giving her up? Like, why would you believe anything he says to begin with, right? No jury's going to believe him. Unless he's got something else. If he has something else, some other piece of communication or something that directly implicates Jen, that's the only way. I don't know where that's coming from. I haven't seen that yet, but doing a lot of Karen Reed work today also. Laura Wagner, he wanted to erase her ASAP. Have there been any reports on if she was pregnant or not? No reports. That would be in the medical examiner's report. But I think it would also show up in the indictment. I didn't see it in there. That would be another charge. That would be another charge if he took that life as well. That's why I don't think so. That's why I don't think so. Unless they're going to do a superseding indictment down the road here. Vinny, did they get a search warrant to search his phone since he willingly let them keep it? Well, if he consented to the search, it's a lawful search. But if they wanted to take the search further into a Google Drive, and what will happen often, even if you get the consent to search, you may still get the search warrant. Why? Because it will always be challenged, right? It will always be challenged. So if you have a feeling that, hey, I'm going to get some potentially important information here and I have possession of the phone, well, okay, I've got possession of the phone. I've got some other information. I can get a search warrant. I can wait on searching this and I can get a search warrant to then search it. Even though I have possession, if I haven't searched it yet, I could do that just to make sure that I have the stamp of approval of a judge, which is a stronger case to make in front of the trial judge that, hey, we presented this information to this judge. The judge signed the warrant. This evidence is admissible, versus going into court saying, yeah, he said we could look at it. See the difference in the weight of that, right? Both are like, someone can consent to a search and that's a lawful search. But if it's going to be challenged, they'll challenge whether or not that consent was given without duress, etc. Versus a judge saying, okay, I'll sign the warrant, do what you have to do. So what was the warrant? I'll take a look at the warrant that I had here. Okay. Since you're interested in the warrant. So the search warrant we have that was released with these papers involved getting a buccal or buccal swab of his DNA, getting his saliva, getting photographs of his male private parts, and also seizing his clothing as well. So that's what this application, an affidavit for search warrant, is from Kissimmee. But I believe the phone stuff was happening out of Orange County. So and we've gotten some information, some vague information about that, but not what we really, really need in this case. But thank you, Annabella. Annabella Roma.
Annabella.
Okay, Robert. I got to show you this from Robert. I don't know if you saw this. Let me see this. Robert is saying, Robert Fahrenholt. Thank you, Robert. We got breaking news that lawyers for Jen Soto will be on ABC News and The View tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. We need Ann, also Gail, and Rick with Vinny tonight. Get down to the bottom of this. And also got breaking news that Jose Baez, who successfully okay. Ari Melber, Kaylee Anthony, Jose Baez. All right. It seems like there's a lot happening. All right, Robert, thank you for that. So we'll see. Does she have lawyers who are going to speak to ABC? If so, we'll all see it. We shall see it. Let me just take a quick look on that. Okay. I'm just checking. Just checking. If there's anything posted by anyone anywhere. Take a look at the latest. Yeah. I'm not seeing it, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Thanks so much. Okay, let's see who else is on the check-in today. So, if you watched my show last night on Court TV, I brought in two powerhouse Florida legal experts. Dave Arenberg, who's the state's attorney down in Palm Beach County, Harvard Law graduate, okay, smartest of the smart, and the Honorable Belvin Perry, Judge Belvin Perry. So I had both of them on talking about mom's potential liability here. And from their analysis of Florida law, is that number one, the 8 a.m. statement, big problem, could be charged there with lying to police. And as far as any other charges with what we know right now, with the known evidence, potential child neglect. And the child neglect would relate to what happened to her allegedly with Stephen Stearns. So second degree charge. So it is serious. It is serious and could be used as leverage to get her to cooperate. Because here's my thing. Like, yes, there is strong evidence here, but there's going to be blank spaces in the story, blank spaces that could be filled in by MaddieS0t0, who takes you inside the household. But the question is, and I keep coming back to this every time I talk about this, is that as a prosecutor, which I was, you need to understand fully and confidently what role she had, what role she played, what she did, what she didn't do. And you've got to understand that and believe that before you start throwing deals out there. Oh, I missed Michelle's. I got to go back. I didn't read it. It just popped off. There we go. Sorry. So much sympathy for SS, yet none for her daughter. Right. That's the reaction, right? That reaction. Like, I don't want to believe, I don't believe this. That's problematic. That is so problematic. I mean, nothing seemed right from the beginning. But the problem is, coming into it, we don't know her. We don't know her baseline. What is she normal? What's her affect? What's her level of intelligence? What has happened to her? What is her situation in that house? Is she a victim? Right? All of that comes into play to trying to understand why she appeared the way she did on television and why she's saying these things that she's saying to investigators. Like, when I have anxiety, I send the two of them off to be by themselves in bed. I mean, that's nuts. So, but to me, I'm very troubled that I have been. Lisa Jones, thank you so much. Or Liza or Lisa. It's Liza, right? Like Liza Minnelli. 8 a.m. It's impossible. 8 a.m. is impossible based upon everything else. No, it just doesn't work. 7 a.m. If you said 7 a.m., I'd be like, okay, let's talk about this. Because then she gets ready. Why would she go to school at 7 a.m. if it starts at 9:30 though? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Doesn't fit. Sherry Mathis, great job staying on top of this horrendous case. Thank you, Sherry. Sherry, baby. Frankie Valli to Four Seasons. All right. Right. So I go from Frankie Valli to Four Seasons with Sherry to, hey, Paula. Hi, Vinny. Surely, at the least, Jen should be charged with child neglect. Who admits to letting the boyfriend sleep in bed with your child? Right. That's a problem. And she can win the trial. She can win the case. It's not a slam dunk by any means. Like, there's no presumption that someone is a PF, or we call them a PF. No, we call them a PPH. But there's no presumption of that, right? You shouldn't presume unless someone has that history. But you just want to slow down. You don't want to charge until you fully understand her role or lack of role, her cooperation or lack of cooperation. See, charging her in these circumstances, if you believe she had nothing to do with the demise of Madeline, then you would, and you want to get her to cooperate, then you could charge her with something like that, kind of put her in the corner a little bit. But if you believe she's responsible, then you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Because once you start throwing immunity around, immunity is immunity. There's different types of immunity, but her attorney, if she has one, and if he's going to be on, he or she's going to be on ABC tomorrow, we shall see. But if you have an attorney's not going to let you speak. Like, if you watch my show, the criminal defense attorneys, it's the number one thing they say. It's their number one line. Don't talk. Don't talk. Don't talk. And then I say, what if you're innocent? Don't talk. So any statement, interview, anything that's done, it's going to be a quid pro quo. There's going to be some assurances, some protection given to Jen Soto from prosecution for anything to give up any information. Because they probably believe at this point, prosecutors, if they had something, she would have been charged already. So they sort of have the upper hand here in saying, hey, listen, you want information from my client. What are you giving us? What are you giving us? Are you investigating her? Well, the investigation is continuing. Well, investigation continuing. I'm not comfortable with you speaking with her. She's not comfortable because we think you might target her. You might target an innocent person. That's what they'll say. Let's see. Jillian. Hi, Vinny. Following from the UK. Keep up the great work. Love your show and discussions. Thank you, Jillian. By the way, big thank you to Gen X, Frankie Figs, and Melly, keeping law and order in the comments. Pixie Dust. I have notifications set on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Yeah, so when I stream on X, I stream on Facebook, I stream on YouTube, and I stream on Twitch. So if you have accounts there, follow, like, subscribe, whatever it is, notification, and then you'll find out when we're doing this, because there is no set schedule. Everyone is learning that, especially the mod squad. It's like, when's he going on next? Nobody knows, because I don't even know. But I'm glad 2,500 of you could join us on such short notice today. What other parts of this timeline? This whole 8 o'clock hour, there seems to be a lot of information. And if you're looking for, what time did it happen, right? What time did it happen? I've got to think you got to go before 7:35 in the morning. You could potentially go back all the way to the night before, because if it happens the night before, it gives you time. Like you're in a panic, the adrenaline's running. What are we going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then you devise this, half-baked plan to pretend to drop her off at school. Like, and what I want to know is understanding the time that it happened is significant. And maybe that's where I think Jen Soto could fill in some of the blanks from the timeline of that night. A lot of the statements are so vague. But what can you put together from phone evidence, phones moving, phones being activated, locations with the phones? Because remember, like in the Murdoch case, like they used his phone, and it's based upon the movements of the phone inside the house. You could almost, I could picture in my mind the panic setting up in Alec Murdoch's mind, and he's just frantically moving around that house, trying to do things, taking a shower, changing the clothes, running from here, running from there. Like the way it was described in court, I saw like this film in my mind. And to me, and it was just coming from this phone evidence. So I think in this case, you may be able to do the same thing based upon who's moving, who's not moving, and to figure out what time this happened. Whose phones are next to each other at what hours. Sue Fort, Vinny, what I don't understand is if he was already out of the house, I'm presuming Maddie was too old for him now. Why do it now? He wasn't out of the house, though. And what my understanding is, again, I haven't spoken to him, but at the end of the prior year, he had spent some time down south in South Florida with his parents, and there were health issues with his parents. And then when he was done down there, then he came back and he was back in. So I don't think he was out of the house at that time. So that goes back to the motive. Why now? Well, she's 13. I'm a teenager now. I'm a teenager. I can take care of myself. I can stand up for myself now. I can tell people what happened. I think that's what happened. Debbie, could we please have Janine Driver tonight to analyze Jen McCabe? Boom, 8 o'clock tonight. You got it. You got it, Debbie. 8 o'clock tonight. JS. I think JS hits the nail on the head here. She told him no. She's 13 now. I'm 13. Stop. I'm not a kid. I'm not a kid anymore. Don't forget, she was telling her friends she was going to move out into the woods when she turned 13. I think for her and for most children, like becoming a teenager is a big, big deal. And I think in your mind, it's a big deal. Things change now. I'm a teenager now. I'm not a kid. Get away from me. Get out. No. That's what I think is happening. And then things get, physical, get loud, and then, things get out of control. Come on, smash it. Sarcasm for fun. Smash it, folks. Let's go. We got 2,600 here. 2,600 smashes all at once. Be amazing. Amazing. 1, 2, 3. Hit it. All right. We've got, where'd she go? Here she is. Janae. Thank you, Janae. Or Jenny. Or Janae. It's actually Janae. Okay. Janae. All right. I'll tell you, comments are moving so fast. I'm about to hit one, and then it disappears on me. Where was it? Where'd it go? Facebook is in the house. Lisa Stainbrook, last night when you were reading the court papers about the pictures he had, I literally got sick. Yeah. This is the reality. And everyone, and I think the true crime community is very good about this. Very good about this. I think the casual viewer, not as much, but understanding real cases, real people. Real cases, real people. And it's behavior that you cannot believe is actually happening, but it is, and it does. And that's where investigators step in. And that's where I step in to make sure our system is working. Make sure it's working. And I think there's also in all these cases, at the end, there has to be a takeaway, something to learn, something to understand. Like if there's one single mom out there who came across this story and understands the potential dangers and the responsibilities that you have as a single mom, you're dealt a tough hand. You're dealt a very difficult job. But but it's keeping the priorities straight, and it's understanding and not being naive, and understanding that there are people, men in this world who they practice this. They say whatever they need to say to get access. They will do whatever they need to do. They will make you feel special. They will, you know what I mean? They'll do everything they can to get access. So hopefully that message is loud and clear for folks. Regarding Florida DP law for PED stuff, would they be stopped before giving him DP because the law is unconstitutional, or would it have to be ordered by the court, then challenged on appeal before ruled unconstitutional? All right. So the way it works, right? So Florida has the DP law for PED stuff now. They used to have it before. It is likely unconstitutional. The Supreme Court has ruled on this. So how would it play out if prosecutors went forward with it and the jury rendered a verdict, and that was the penalty he received for the images found on his phone and what he did? What would happen? Well, because it's a DP case, there are automatic appeals. The appeals are automatic. So nothing happens until all the automatic appeals are exhausted. And those appeals would go all the way up, would end up perhaps back in front of the Supreme Court, although some judge or appellate court or trial judge could find it unconstitutional as well. The trial judge can say, no, that is unconstitutional. Like the trial judge can make that determination based upon precedent, based upon what the law is, the guiding law in that area. And in this area, the Supreme Court is supreme everywhere, every state, when it comes to constitutional issues, because that's what they deal with. So it could be tossed by the trial court. It could be tossed by the Florida appellate court. It could be tossed by the Florida Supreme Court. And if none of them do it, then it would end up likely in front of the U.S. Supreme Court again. Great question, Michelle. True After Dark Records, severe trauma to her head. That's what we're hearing whispers of. I've heard that from more than one place. How? Is the head being hit against something? Is something hitting the head? Not clear. The instrumentation would tell a story as well. Alice in Wonderland. Thank you, Alice in Wonderland. Great to see you today here on YouTube, taking a break from Wonderland. Delfina Rosas. Thank you, Delfina. Very much appreciated. Thanks for joining the chat here today, keeping us going. And another Sherry Clifton. Predators like SS look for weak-minded, broken women with children. Predators, that by their nature, predators will always go after the easiest prey. And she may not have been the first target. There may have been other targets. There may have been other people. We don't know. It was on again, off again. So when it was off again, where was he? What was he doing? Who was he with? Now that this case is so high profile, if he was with someone, they surely know about this and should be speaking to their child. Janet stuttered. Stearns has lied about everything. How long was he out of the house, or with whom? How can we possibly believe anything he says? We can't. And you heard in the recording how casually he lied about things that were provably false, right? Things that were obviously and provably false. He was lying about. So, we saw that, we heard that, and it's kind of scary, which makes everything a little more difficult. Here's a good question from Carly. Would there be a separate trial for the essay and the homicide charge? Yes, they are two separate trials. The essay will be first. The essay will be first. Number one, it's the easier case. Number two, it was the first one charged. Definitely an easier case. And and you want to try them separately. They don't merge. These things don't merge because the essay is taking place over the course of time, apparently going back to when she's 8 years old. So you put all those pieces together, you get that conviction. Now he's not going anywhere. Now you go for the next one. And again, on the first one, I don't think you're getting the ultimate punishment on that one. I just don't think that's happening. Pitbull over 22. I always thought it was strange. Jen never went to look for Maddie and said she thought someone took her. I think that first night they may have been out somewhere and the family had sort of gathered near that church parking lot that first night. But yeah, don't forget, there's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before she's found on Friday. You have to look. I'm sorry. You've got to look. You've got to be looking. Days with Vinny are so much better. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you, Melly. That's a great slogan. Days with Vinny are so much better. Thanks. That's awesome. Some fantastic discussions taking place. Nirvana Fairy, I think maybe she threatened to tell. Thanks for covering. Yeah, but I think in general, I would say, and I don't know whether it's threatening to tell or saying no, but she's standing up for herself. Standing her ground in a stand your ground state of Florida. That's what's happening. She's 13. Not tonight. It's not happening tonight. Jessica Eska. I would walk miles to search for my missing daughter. Of course you would. Absolutely. That's what you. I mean, this is anything else going on in your life. Who cares at that moment, right? Now, thank goodness we haven't been in this position, but I have spoken to people in this position, and I've seen what they've done and how they've reacted and what they do. And the innocent ones, it's pretty consistent what they do. They search for their child. That's what they do. They search, they look, they don't stop. They don't care what people are saying about them. They're plowing forward. They're doing anything and everything. They're keeping the case in the spotlight. I mean, in the beginning, she did, TV interviews. I mean, that's a positive. I don't want to poo-poo that. Didn't look great in them, but she did do them. So I think, to be fair, we have to acknowledge that at least she came out and spoke. Charlene, who's going to be on ABC tomorrow? Jen, this is what we don't know, Charlene. This was breaking news from one of our members of our community. I haven't seen anything on it. But what was it? Robert? I think it was Robert. Said that he heard that it was Jen Soto's attorney or attorneys that were going to be on The View. not sure why they'd go on The View and not like 2020 or GMA, but we'll see. Sometimes if they do speak, sometimes ABC News will put it on different shows and different platforms. So good crowd, folks. We got a good crowd today. So let me give you an update for tonight. My show, 8 o'clock, Court TV. Big day in the Karen Reed trial. We're going to take a look at the cross-examination of Jennifer McCabe, key witness for prosecutors because of what she says she saw, important witness for the defense because of what they say she did. Okay, part of the conspiracy. So we've got that. And also things are wrapping up in the Doomsday Bell trial out in Boise, Idaho. The defense putting on some more witnesses, their own medical examiner, some other witnesses talking about the shooting attempt on Tammy's life. So we've got a live report there. And there's another case out of San Diego. A TikTok star accused in taking the lives of his estranged wife and her friend. And he testified today. So I'm going to show you his testimony. And he is like off the wall, this guy. Ali Abulaban is his name. He used to do imitations of Scarface on TikTok. So we've got all that coming up tonight, 8 o'clock on Court TV. So when I leave here, that's what I finish preparing for. This is interesting. Hi, Vinny, a Spaniard. Elena Bonilla, Abad. Why haven't her autopsy results been released? There's a special law in the state of Florida. It's not a law across the board in all states in the United States, but in Florida, there's a special protection when the victim is underage and the allegation is they're the victim of DV. Then the surviving parent or the non-offending parent or the parent has the opportunity to tell officials to not release that information. And apparently that is what has happened in this one. All right. Oh, here we go. Court Kardashian, Vinny hamstring update. Thank you so much. So those of you watching the stream on Sunday night, I had, I guess, what are they called? Spasms? Was it a cramp or a spasm in my hamstrings, both legs, because I had a very big day playing baseball for like 3 hours, and it just tightened up like this on me. But I'm fine. I was running again today. This morning, I did some of my running work. Good to go. They're feeling fine tonight. So I think I'm recovered. I think it was just I needed that pickle juice. I needed a little more pickle juice than I had. But thank you for caring. Okay. Nirvana Fairy, tell us a joke before you go, just for fun. Okay. Here's a story. So I was working at Court TV, and this was years ago. And we didn't show, this was before even like streaming was a thing, right? So trials weren't streaming. We would show trials live, and then in between live trials, we would show trials that we had recorded on tape, right? And I would always tell the producers, don't tell me the endings of these things because I want to analyze them as if I'm watching it live. I think it's better to do it that way. So I was always protected from not knowing the verdict. So I was in the same shoes as most of the viewers. But to introduce certain pieces of testimony, once in a while, some of them would write a script to introduce it, or they would give us notes about what was coming up in that piece of video. So I was reading the notes, and I don't know the exact story, so I'm probably messing it up just a little bit. But as I recall, the defendant was seen speaking to someone, or went to go to speak to someone, another witness. And I was reading the notes, and it said at a topless bar. So I was like, oh, wow. They went to meet at a topless bar. So I go on the air and I say, coming up, we got some testimony from so-and-so who's going to tell you about this meeting between the defendant and witness X. And of all places that they met, folks, they met at a topless bar. Let's take a look. And then we watched the video. And as they're going through it, I'm listening and watching. And then the detective is testifying, or whoever's testifying says, yes. And they met at a tapas bar. You know, small plates, tapas. So then I got to come back on the air after the thing. And I just look in the camera. I say, tapas, not topless. We'll be right back. So there you go. That's my joke. Just for laughs. That's why I don't believe everything I read. Did SS work? No, I don't. I mean, there's that one photo of him working for some subcontractor at Disney, but I don't think he was much into work. My guess is elderly mommy and daddy gave him some money. He was waiting for them to pass away so he could get some money from them. I don't know if he was involved in selling things online, like images that he had on his phone. I don't know, but clearly did not have a 9 to 5. Did not have a 9 to 5. Oh, I'm seeing all the nice notes about my hamstrings. Stretching, water. I do it all. I stretch. I drink water. I eat bananas. I have like these special little things that are made just for this that I was consuming. But it was a warm day and it was a long game. And then I was sitting here in my chair for 2 hours and my legs were bent. That was the biggest problem, I think. Okay, MC. Is a Karen Reed recap coming today? Not on the stream. You got to watch 8 o'clock tonight on Court TV. 8 o'clock tonight on Court TV. We are all in tonight. I'll probably do another stream on Karen Reed this week, maybe, or weekend. I got to see. I may be on the road next week. So I may be doing some shows. When I'm on the road, I got to do them off the phone, and it's a little funky, but we'll see. All right. Oh, good. People like the story. I see laughs. Oops. There you go. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to wrap. I'm hitting an hour. I think an hour is good during the week, middle of the week. What day is it? It's Tuesday. Vitamin E at night. All right. Vitamin E at night. See, my shoulder's a little tight too. Oh, here we go. Are you going to cover the case in Ohio of the dad and his 3 kids? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's an insanity defense. He's going to have a hard time with that. What is this? What is this? Thor. Vinny is nothing but a clout chaser. I'm gonna look that up. What's a clout chaser? Should I know that? Is that something I should know? Clout. Cloud chaser is a critical term for a person who is thought to be intent on attaining fame, especially one who tries to do so in ways considered desperate, such as leveraging their proximity to famous people or doing things considered foolish, degrading, or dangerous. Clout chaser. Thank you, Thor. All right. All right. I got to go. I've got some clout to chase, ladies and gentlemen. I've got some clout to chase. All right. Well, have a great day, everyone. 8:00 tonight, Court TV. Subscribe, smash the like button on YouTube, share it on Facebook, do whatever they do on Twitch. The last one on Twitch, we had like almost double-digit viewers. I think we hit 7. I think the most we've ever had is 12. But that is good. I have a new word. Woo. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Please, whatever you do, don't forget to hug the kids.